All right, hi, welcome to White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. My name is Josh Bachynski. This is the best SEO show on YouTube, or quite frankly, the best SEO show that exists, quite frankly, if I do say so myself. Not only because you have dinosaurs, but you have such industry-leading experts as Ted Kubaitis and Steve Fantasia. Say hi, Ted and Steve.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, except you do have amateurs who forget to pause the live broadcast when they're doing the live broadcast. So I guess we're not the best SEO show. Already refuted. Boom, done. Okay.
Broad strokes.
So as I said, today we have with us Ted Kubaitis, a returning guest, and Steve Fantasia as well. Chase Reiner, our typical co-host, is off partying in Costa Rica. So I guess he's doing something right. He has the money to go to Costa Rica, and that's where he is. I'll adjust my camera there so you can.
It's Corona time for him.
Better view. Sorry, what was that?
I said it's Corona time for him.
It's Corona time for Chase. So we'll try to soldier on without him. And actually, later on in the broadcast, I have a special segment dedicated to Chase that we'll get to, but I'll get to that a little bit later. So today we've got we're doubly blessed because we have two awesome presentations. We're gonna have an awesome presentation from Ted talking about his SEO correlation software. This software is, he's been working on it for some time. We've been collaborating on it. It's absolutely fantastic. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of SEO. And I'm going to let Ted explain it and talk about it in a few minutes. And then also we have Steve Fantasia, our Facebook ad guru, who not only do you get information on this show how to do SEO and how to make more money doing SEO and get more traffic doing SEO, we also, because we don't want to be outdone by anybody, we also have all the information you could ever want or need as to how to make money on Facebook and how to use Facebook as a resource for traffic as well. And Steve has got a little presentation for us, just a kind of a single screen showing some of the magic and some of the secrets and tips that he can do and that you can do if you want to learn from Steve on Facebook. Isn't that right, Steve?
Yep, that's right. And maybe some grooming tips later on some hairstyles or.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll talk about pomade, and we'll talk about how to get the perfect cut of the beard and how to do the two length beard and it'll be crazy. It'll be and dinosaurs. It'll be dinosaurs and everything. It'll be crazy. You're gonna love it. So before I get to the stuff, so in a couple of seconds, I'll just share this screen for Steve, and Steve can start talking about some of the Facebook stuff, and we'll get to the what's new section, and that we'll do the Steve stuff first. But before that, I just want to say, so as I said, this is probably the best SEO show in the world that's going on right now that I know about anyway. And if you like it, I know a lot of people watch it, a lot of people like it. If you like it, Chase is not here, so I have to cajole you to like the video. so please remember to like the video. Someone just said, Brett just asked, where's Chase? He's in Costa Rica. As Steve says, it's Corona time.
Corona time.
And so like the video. If you have any SEO questions, you can always email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can follow me at Twitter at joshbachynski, and you can watch more videos like this with SEO leaks, tips, tricks, secrets, experiments, wisecracks from the peanut gallery at youtube.com/jbachins, or you can find me on Facebook. Just type in Josh Bachynski SEO into the search field.
There you go.
So with all that mouthful done, let's go right to Steve here. So Steve, I'll share this screen here for you so you could talk about it. And the reason you might be wondering why is Josh sharing the screen is because Steve is scared of Google Hangouts and doesn't know how to share screen.
I don't really do this technology thing, but I will. Okay. As the resident anti-SEO guy on an SEO show, I will just jump into a couple little things on Facebook. I just wanted to show you guys this real quick. People ask all the time, what kind of results can you get on advertising? And if you notice on the right, CPC, this is 19 cents per click. This is an active campaign that I have. It's in a niche, like a cosmetic niche. And yep, there you go, a little magic pointer. So that's 19 cents per click, a converting click. And I wanted to show this screenshot to illustrate the fact that if you notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate campaigns. So that was 5 campaigns that were built for one product. A lot of times people will come to me and say, you know, I ran a Facebook ad campaign or I ran a PPC ad and I was paying really high per click.
Let me interrupt you here. Josh, can you click on the right profile so we see the screenshot?
Oh.
Are you not seeing it? I thought you were.
There we go.
Yeah.
It switched back.
I'm manually doing it.
Yeah, there we go. I think we're good.
Perfect. Keep going.
All right, cool. So tons of information, not a lot of technological advice coming from this show. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to really quick show some people that a lot of times what they'll do is they'll create one campaign and run with it, and then they'll leave it, and that's it. And they'll get a low cost or a high cost conversion, and they'll say, oh, it didn't work. One of the things that I did, I wanted to show, oh, did it jump back again?
It jumped back. Can you share it, Steve?
I mean, I love looking at your room, though. It's pretty nice with the little owls and stuff. But
Here, I'll mute Ted, and that way it won't go to him.
So just
Don't hear his annoying voice. I'm just kidding, Ted. Unmute yourself if you want to say something.
So I was running that campaign, and it was getting $1 per click. Now, guess how fast I killed that campaign? Pretty quick, right? And so what we ended up doing is then we ran to 4, and then we just narrowed it down until we got to the top of 19 cents per click, and then we scaled that campaign. Now that just simple strategy.
Did you do that, Steve?
What was that?
How exactly did you narrow it down to get it cheaper?
Well, when you build the campaign, you'll set up by criteria. So you'll have different audiences for each one, a different. You could do age group, sex, where they live, location. Just break it down, and then as you run it, you know what's working and what's not. Because if we just ran a campaign all combined, then you're never going to know what to scale and what to kill. So if you break it out in your campaign, you can do some A/B testing, and then you can eventually find the one, magic group and scale it at that 19 cents. So I would take this campaign here, and I would then, scale it up and just run with it. But it's just kind of to show you guys, I mean, that was over the course of, I think, the 23rd to the 27th. So it's real clicks, real dollars, just to give the guys a show of what's possible if they want to immediately start out and get some clicks for their website.
So of course, this is fascinating, and it's extremely important. A lot of reason, as you said, a lot of the reason why people stop doing Facebook is because they're getting $1 a click, although $1 a click is usually much better than, say, AdWords, which you're normally getting on AdWords, right?
Yeah.
It's like, could be $10 a click. But you could even make it even better from there to get less than $1 to 19 cents a click. That's, of course, an 80% reduction. What can you give us any more information? What exact steps did you take, or what facets helped you hone in on this particular campaign? Can you give us an example?
Yeah. Okay. So the idea of it is just to build your category. Whatever you're going to be selling, you're going to have a variant audience. In Facebook or advertising, really, the most important thing is audience. So break up those audience by criteria, like groups. Maybe even states, locations, whatever group you can think you could do, and then break it up and then run them simultaneously, and then watch the metrics as to which one's costing more and which one's not. Facebook has a lot of interest categories you can go by. And don't just dump them all. What I see people doing all the time is they'll dump them all in one ad. They'll say, oh, somebody's interested in cosmetics, and they're interested in skin and beauty. And they'll dump it in one ad, and then they're getting $1 click, and they go, oh, I don't know.
But it's very broad.
Yeah, it's broad. So you want to, and broad sometimes can be good, but you want to really just, break them out. That's the number one thing I see when I'm looking at somebody who says, hey, I've been running ads, and I happen to get good results. I go into their ad account, and that's what they're doing. Or they're doing something like, I've seen cosmetic people aimed at men. Now, not that all men don't use cosmetics. I'm sure there's some cosmetics in your medicine cabinet, but
that's how I get my hair like this.
Yeah, but I'm not going to buy rouge. Okay, I'm not going to buy eyeliner. So right off the bat, if you just
go guy liner, thank you.
If you go by the defaults of Facebook, again, they love taking your money. Oh, put the money in the coin jar because I said Facebook. But they love taking your money, and you really got to break out your audience. So that was that little.
That reminds me, I totally forgot. So today also, because Chase is not here, we're going to have a special contest. So I'll talk what that special contest is now, and I'm calling it the Rant Hand contest. So Chase typically, our beloved Chase, will typically go on to some kind of topic, and he'll rant about it. It's safe to call it a rant, and he will use his hand like this to emphasize his points, kind of like Mussolini, I suppose, a little bit like that. So this segment I'm calling the Rant Hand segment, and so we have to pick out something that we hate in the industry. Each one of us have to pick up one little thing we hate in the industry. It could be a 10-second thing, it could be a 3-minute thing that we hate, that we want to talk about it, and we have to talk about it like this with our Rant Hand. But here's the catch: that every time Steve says Facebook, he has to do something, and every time I say John Mueller or either Ted or I say John Mueller or backlinks,
or canonical,
we have to do something. Or canonical, right? So canonical, backlinks, of John Mueller. So, and here's the catch, guys listening. Folks, you in the chat, you guys have to tell us what it is we have to do, and we'll pick the one that we like the most. So, I leave it totally up to you. I hope that it's clean and legal. and if it's completely out there, then I probably won't do it. But you guys can suggest what we have to do for who loses this game. Who says Facebook the most, Steve? Or either Ted or I say backlinks or canonical or John Mueller the most. Okay, ready? So we can't say these things, and we have to rant about a subject, and we have to use the rant hand. So here we go. So here's what I want to rant about this week. Quite often I'll do a lot of SEO audits for customers, and quite often I find that the issue is not figuring out kind of what the SEO factors are. The issue is trying to determine how we can see what Google is seeing in terms of user metrics, right? Of course, there is a large opinion out there, ever-growing opinion that but by the way, I was probably one of the first ones to seriously say out loud. I've been saying this for years, and now everyone is kind of jumping on my bandwagon because I watched this fellow called Mon Jeweler. And Mon Jeweler makes tons of videos about Google, and he's been telling us for many years now that user metrics are going to be a factor, at least tongue-in-cheek. He's been saying you have to watch your conversions and things like that. And Miley Oye, another Google employee who was not included in the contest, she's been telling us for a long time that terminating the search is being very, very important. So, so I do these SEO audits, and I show people how they have this massive bounce rate, and their average time on page is less than 5 seconds or less than 10 seconds. And I give them a whole list of pages that one would need to fix. No, it was Mon Jeweler. His name was Mon Jeweler, Steve. Steve just typed something in the chat. And I present all this information, and then typically what I get back from the person who designed it or developed it, of course, they're a little insulted that I'm saying their design is not good enough. Because essentially that's what it means, right? Google wants you to have the highest quality design. When they say high quality, they mean they want it to convert. They want it to not have a 95% bounce rate, or a non-conversion rate. If you send 100 people to a page, they want to see 80 people at least, or they want to see the maximum amount of people converting on that page, not 95 people go back to Google and click another result. So sorry, I didn't have enough rant hand going there. So there's my rant for this week, is that yes, that's a factor, and no, Google Analytics is not perfect at telling you that. It's just one way of looking at it, but darn it, you have to worry about it, and don't get angry at me if I'm the messenger from what Mon Jeweler says.
Well, let me throw some debate into the mix.
Sure, it is a debate show.
You really need to distinguish between bounce back to search and the bounce rate that's displayed in Google Analytics, because the daily Dilbert comic strip, its bounce rate is huge, and its time on site is well under a minute. And Google views that as a success. They're #1 for their keyword.
Right. And what is the reason, Ted?
Well, they complete the search.
Exactly. Right. So that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, is that the bounce rate in analytics is completely useless, really, at the end of the day. It's only tracking people who visit at least 2 pages, unless you have some events set up, which most people don't. It's only tracking people who visit at least 2 pages. People who visit just 1 page and bounce back to Google, it's not even tracking them, 1. So you need to look at what's called the drop-off rate. You need to look at the drop-off rate, damn it. First rant hand. Secondly, it's not even tracking the correct time on page either. For people who visit 1 page, the time on page will be 00000 because they don't ever spawn the JavaScript again a second time. So if they don't spawn the JavaScript a second time, Google can't track the time between the first spawn and the second spawn. So you need to set up an event that triggers, say, every 5 seconds with a set interval method in JavaScript at 5 seconds or 15 seconds or whatever is appropriate for your site, to get a more accurate sense of how long people are staying in your site and whether or not they bounced off that first page. So that's my big rant for this week, is people who either don't understand what Google Analytics is telling them and or want to argue with me because Google Analytics is confusing, and I'm like, you got to fix these pages. No, we don't. our pages are fine. You know, that's the kind of thing they're doing. All they care about is link backs. I'm trying to, whatever they say I have to do, I want to avoid it because God only knows what the chat's going to say we have to do. So, okay, Ted, what's your rant for this week? Or was that your rant for this week?
Oh, well, you know, I also find people that think their on-page tuning is perfect and ideal. And when I go and check, when I go and measure, no, it's not.
You have to add the rant hand.
Very infrequently is your on-page tuning ever ideal. Most of the time, people are missing the mark. They're very deficient in what they need. And then a very small percentage of the time, do they have more than they need?
Right, over-optimization, yeah.
And then it's never happened once where somebody's been close, like say 5% more than they need for their on-page tuning.
Right.
Because the only way you hit that mark is if you're measuring carefully.
Exactly, and that's one of the more, probably in my opinion, the most beautiful thing your software does is tells you exactly where you need to be for your specific niche, not for in general, not for like every niche that ever existed. For your niche, it tells you exactly where you need to be for your on-page tuning.
Exactly.
And so we'll get to that in a second. That'll be the next segment we'll do, in fact. And then lastly, Steve, with your rant hand ready, in honor of our co-host Chase, who's out sexing up the girls of Costa Rica, for all I know.
You have the Chase.
What is your rant for this week?
I would say on an SEO show, a good rant for a social guy is that the idea that engagement actually matters in 2017 and smileys and likes matter is just, it blows my mind. If your social person, and I didn't say the word, is talking to you about impressions and
what social network would that be?
Yeah, I don't know. Talk conversions, clicks, and money. Don't talk about smileys and how many people it reached. I want to know who clicked, who bought, and you know, that's my kind of rant. And also a rant against people who've tried doing a little black hat, because this is white hat, black hat. I do actually love the black hat side of Facebook.
Oh yeah. He said Facebook. People in the chat, what does he have to do? I'll check afterwards.
I know what I have to do. People who say my ad got denied and banned because of what I was doing, and I just want to say there's ways around it. Those are my rants.
Boy, you better hope they put something nice in that chat, man.
Well, we still got about 40
in trouble.
I'm sure that John Mueller is going to come up.
Yeah. Oh, you even said John Mueller. He's got. Oh, and I said it. Damn it. Well, I said it was I didn't say anyone who did it. I said anyone. I said the person who did it the most. So we're 1-1 right now. We're tied. You said Facebook once. I said John Mueller once.
Yep.
So now we're tied. That was meta conversation, by the way. Now back into the real conversation for the contest. Okay, so let's move on to the guest section. And today our awesome guest, our recurring guest, is Ted Kubaitis. Ted, I love your software. He's got a quick presentation to show us how good this is. It's crazy good, guys. I'm not like overhyping this. It is really that good. Please, Ted, take it away. Share your screen and show us. He has a little PowerPoint for us. Show us your software.
You know, I play in a niche I like to call next generation SEO. I don't like rank trackers. I don't think they're very actionable. And so I wanted to develop SEO tools that bring advantage and make a difference. And so I hope you guys like what you see today. This is what I call a next generation SEO tool. All right, can you see my screen?
I can see it. Guys in the chat, if you can see the screen, if it's staying on Ted's screen, please let me know.
Okay. So
go ahead there, Ted, and they'll tell me in the chat.
My company's name is SEO Tool Lab. The product is called Cora. And Cora helps you understand which factors influence rankings. Helps you determine the degree of content tuning you need to be competitive. It helps you find where your on-page tuning is deficient. And for professional SEOs, It gives you the ability to differentiate your SEO service from mainstream SEO by using empirical measurements and data. And many of my clients also use this software to build new services that they then turn around and sell to their clients.
That's good too.
So the way this software works is you enter in a keyword for a niche you are trying to help, and the software will then pull the top 100 results for that keyword, and then it'll visit each page. On each page, it'll measure over 300 different on-page content tuning factors. It'll then correlate which of those factors appear to influence rankings. And then it creates an awesome report in an Excel spreadsheet. So that's what it's doing. And for the sake of this example, I did a keyword search on cosmetic surgeon, Los Angeles.
A pretty lucrative one.
Yeah, highly competitive, a lot of money at stake here. The pay-per-click is up there. And these are the keywords that Google highlights in the search results as being hits, as being relevant matches. So I wanted to point out that as we look through the output of the software and I talk about matches, in most cases, it's talking about any of these words that Google considered hits. What you're seeing now, which looks like a blurry mess, this is the spreadsheet of all the factor measurements. So this is an Excel spreadsheet.
We're going to go over each one.
Each one. And I just wanted to give you an idea.
We're not going to do each one. We're going to do some highlights, but that's a lot of data.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you an idea of how much data is being pulled here. Each row of this spreadsheet is a different on-page tuning factor. And each column of data where you see the little yellow blips, that's a search result and their column of factor measurement. So I have each of the top 100 results all measured out. The gray bar going down, that's the average factor measurement by page for the top 10 pages. And the orange that you see near the top, those are the factors that correlated the strongest and appear to influence your rankings the most. And so when we get into the data, we want to spend most of our time there because those are the things that appear to move the needle.
Because they have the strongest correlation.
Yes. And so what we can do with this data is really impressive. So for example, if you're number 15 for our target search term, we can find all the things that appeared to move the needle that were statistically significant. And we can find out all the ones that you're deficient in result 15. And we can see that you're either deficient to the measurements from result 1 or deficient to the page 1 average.
So in terms of competitive analysis, this is kind of like the uber competitive analysis where you can tell how you are different, better or worse, than pretty much every conceivable on-page factor from all of your competition.
Yes.
And the top 100 results.
And it's so actionable because we know exactly how deficient you are. We know how much work to put in. We know where that work needs to go. It's very empirical. And so it's all actionable for you to improve your on-page tuning. And a lot of this works for the simple reason that relevance is still calculated by Google in an old-fashioned way using TF IDF. And if you look that up online, the TF stands for term frequency, and that's about keyword matches. And the algorithm is used to determine relevance between a search query and a document within a collection of documents.
Right.
And Google still uses this algorithm. And so this is why this type of analysis is very important, because it's not actually Google that's ranking your website. You rank relative to your competitors for the search term.
Right. Just to kind of paraphrase what you're saying, and this is kind of how you explained it to me, and I think I agree. At the end of the day, no matter what advancements Google has made, no matter what changes Google has made, they are still just a keyword-based search engine, like any keyword-based search engine, like a Control F in a Word document. Like if you say red apples 10 times and everyone else says it 2 times, in theory, in general, all other things being equal, you're going to rank higher because you said it 5 more times than everybody else did.
That's correct. And that's why Google to this day still has to penalize keyword stuffing as a manual penalty. Their AI and their algorithms did not solve keyword stuffing. Now there's more to it than that. You have to know how to do it and where to do it. And you don't want to scare away your business. But when you start taking measurements, you'll find very quickly that it is an arms race between the websites that are ranking. It's not necessarily an arms race with Google. We all simply rank where our measures place us relative to the competition.
Right.
And so having a report like this tells you how you differ from your competition, what you need to do to be competitive in that on-page tuning.
So let's look at some of the actual examples there, Ted.
Okay. So this one I like to look at because I think it's diagnostic. So we're looking at the factor for having .com as your top level domain in your domain name. And I like to look at this because we know for a high competition keyword, it always correlates. And so here it's got strong correlation. We can see the chart. So at the bottom of the chart, you see 10, 9, 8, 7, all the way to 1 going to the left. Those are the page numbers. So page 1, page 2, page 3. And going vertically, we have the factor measurement. And then the data table on the side is the actual measurement data. So we can see as we go from page 10 to page 1 that there's a slight incline. There's a correlation between having .com in your domain name as you approach number 1 on Google.
Right. Now, just to point out one little thing about this, of course, I know I'm going to get it in the chat, so I just want to say it now. Of course, correlation is not causation. Ted is not saying that that having a .com will cause you to rank higher, but he is saying there is a slight correlation with higher rankings with a .com.
And the reason probably is that successful businesses prefer to use .com. So as a matter of cultural behavior, it correlates that way.
And of course, if you already bought a domain name and you're already ranking on like a .info, you may not want to change to a .com because of course that might cause issues. But that's not the point. The point is that this shows you, if you're doing competition analysis before you even started your business, this is going to show you how you should model everything down to the nth detail.
Yeah, and it also shows that the software picked up on an obvious correlation. And so it's to me, I like it because it says, hey, the software did the right thing.
What's the next one?
This next one is the same scenario. It's another diagnostic. It's site links in your Google result. And site links only appear on page 1, and they only appear in the top half of the results. So, of course, they would correlate with ranking position. So it's another diagnostic test saying the software says this correlates strongly, and it should, and so it's doing the right thing.
Right. So we know that software works. Can we find one that actually would help someone tune their page?
We will, but I want to show one that doesn't.
Sure. Okay.
This one has no correlation. So this is the blog posting markup from schema.org. And this one you can see it doesn't show a trend as you approach page 1. You could look at this and call it coin flips, where it's tails, 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 heads, tails, heads, tails, 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 tails. There's no correlation here. So that's what the graph looks like when there isn't correlation.
And the reason why that's great is because, you know, we know that some schema, some microdata seems to correlate with higher rankings, but which one? There's so many different microdata formats you can use to mark up your page. There's blog, there's article, there's H-entry, there's all these different ones just for blog articles alone, right? So so if you hear like Bill Slosky or even me or anybody say XYZ is a ranking factor, you can fire up this software, check in your niche that you care about, because you don't care about other niches, you care about your niche, and see, does it correlate with higher rankings here, yes or no? And you can make a much more educated decision as to whether or not A, it's a ranking factor for you, and B, whether you should be paying attention to it.
Correct. In this one, we're looking at the number of social pages that you have integrated onto your web page. So it's not social signals like likes and shares. It's actually having the integrations, the buttons to like and share. Is that a factor? And so here we have, you know, pretty clear from page 9 all the way to page 1, it creeps up. And I see this correlate frequently in many, many, many keywords. And so I like to point this out, that it seems to be worthwhile to have your social integrations on the page.
So someone says they just joined live. What software is this? This is the Cora software from Ted Kubaitis. What was from SEOtoollab.com. It's a correlation software that shows you what does correlate with rankings in your niche and what does not correlate with rankings in your niche. And it checks well over hundreds and hundreds of factors in a single button click. It checks over hundreds of pages, thousands of websites in a single button click. And so this particular one we just looked at here for Plastic Surgeon Los Angeles is saying that it does correlate more strongly. The graph goes up towards position 1 to have social buttons, and also probably links back to your social pages like your Twitter, your book face. We have a contest going on. I can't say the proper word. The book face. What was that, Steve? What social network is that?
The F word?
The F word. I can't say the F word because we have a contest going on. Whoever says, because this is meta discussion for people just joining. Yep. Whoever says Facebook, John Mueller, backlinks, more, has to do the chicken dance. So end meta discussion. So this correlation here is showing us that the more buttons we have back to our social pages correlates us more strongly with position 1 rankings.
So here's one talking about matches. So just remember from before that matches means all those words that Google indicated were relevant hits. So matches in P tags and paragraph tags. And so we have a correlation here that says the more of this, the better.
So this is interesting. So again, you have to kind of interpret what the data is telling you. It's like after 5, it jumps up tremendously. After position 5, it jumps up tremendously. Now, some people might say, well, of course, everyone has their content in paragraph tags. That's usually how you do it. You'd have it'd be a body tag, then there'd be some kind of div, then there would be some kind of paragraph tag for each paragraph, usually, but not always, right? Well, and this is showing a big increase for people who have, you know, properly marked up data, properly marked up HTML. And Google has said for a long time that they really want you to have properly marked up HTML. Remember, Google's a bunch of old HTML nerds like I am. I've been teaching HTML since like 97, 96, maybe 97, 98. You know, where you're supposed to have, you know, well-formed HTML, and it's supposed to be a body tag, and you're supposed to have paragraph tags. Inside the paragraph, you're supposed to have bold and stuff like that, and it's not supposed to break that. Google has said for a long time that they like that, and they even hinted they would reward people who do that. And here we have some correlation data that definitely helps or definitely proves or lends some evidence, some credence to what Google is saying.
Yeah, and I just read that at SMX this year, they had open questions, And Google was asked if they use raw HTML or do they use the DOM, the document object model.
Right.
Their answer was they use the DOM. And that means that they're traversing the document tree. They're going through the nested tags to, child nested tags and finding content within those. So that also lends a bit of evidence that that there are zones on a page. And the more you measure, the more you start to realize that, yes, there are indeed zones where things need to happen. It can't just be anywhere on the page. It can't be a million times in your title. You have to understand that there are places.
Yeah, and just to, again, corroborate what you're saying, Google has said for a long time that links on the index page in certain spots give the highest weight, but in other spots, like a right sidebar or the footer, don't give as much weight, if any weight at all, as compared to a link that's in the main index content. And so Google parses the page. They parse what's called the document object model, and different areas or zones on the page, as you say, have a different relevance and a different ability to help you rank and help other people rank and whatnot.
Correct. So here's another one. This is just the number of sentences on the page. So no matches of keywords, just the volume of sentences. Is that a factor? And it correlates strongly. There does appear to be a sweet spot.
Yeah, a lot of people have talked about that as well. So that's interesting.
Now we look at the number of matches for web page sentences, and there is a strong correlation here. What most people see is that outlier on page 8. But the great thing about calculating correlation coefficients is they account for the outliers and determining if there's a correlation. And there is. You want to dial in your long form content to have a competitive amount of keyword matches so that you can be competitive with your term frequency for your relevance calculation.
So yeah, so again, on the bottom of the graph is page 1, page 2 to page 10, and you want to see that line going up to the left, and that'll show you that there's a correlation. Now there's a bit of a correlation from 10 to 1, but I wouldn't say it's very strong. But would you, Ted? And also, if you do, what is the software here telling you? What's the sweet spot? What actually should you do?
Well, it's telling you right below that you should, for this keyword, and it changes from keyword to keyword. So this advice doesn't translate to other keywords well. For this keyword, you want to have at least 61 matches in sentences on your web page.
So you should mention plastic surgeon Los Angeles at least 61 times to be in the ballpark of where everybody else is. Well,
but keep in mind, it's not exact matches. It goes back, let me go back to show people. This list on the left here is what Google considered a relevant hit. So you need 61 of those matches within your sentences and your long form content.
Ah, so it's even better. So it's also taking into the case, the rank brain kind of synonym substitution.
Correct.
Wow, that's fantastic. There is no other keyword software that does anything remotely like that, except for Google, of course.
Okay, and let's look at the keyword stuffing overall, the number of matches throughout the entire page. What I find interesting here is that it's in the hundreds. So if you're saying I'm a white hat SEO and I'm only going to mention my target search terms 15 times on the page, do you think you're going to compete in relevance when page 1 has hundreds of matches on the average result?
Right.
And I've seen niches where this goes up to 2,000, 3,000. It's an arms race, and you literally rank based on how you measure up to your competitors. So you have to be measuring your competitors to know what you need to do.
Yeah.
And there was also this ancient Matt Cutts video where he said, the more you say your search term, there comes a point of diminishing returns, and every point after that gets worse and worse and worse. Well, what's the point of diminishing returns after 2,500 matches? Okay, but if you get to 3,000 matches, we're going to start applying the pain.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think it works that way. And the data kind of agrees that there isn't a point of diminishing returns that's, you know, observable in the search results.
Well, I don't know. I might have to debate you a little bit on that one on 2 points, but even one, just look at the graph. I mean, if I'm reading this correctly, around page 8 of the rankings and around page 2 of the rankings, the keywords are well, page 2, let's look at, on page 2 of the rankings, the keywords are higher in terms of all the keywords in all the HTML. Remember, in all the HTML, that's including the title tag, the meta tag, the meta keywords tag, all the title attributes, all the alt attributes, all of the unseeable HTML code that goes in there is what we're tracking on this particular graph, just so everyone understands.
Yep.
And around page 2 of the rankings, there are more keywords. So it looks like it is possible that they are over-optimized and they're getting some kind of an issue. That's why they're on page 2.
Yeah, but the other thing you have to consider is I look at hundreds of keywords every week. You know, over the past year, it's thousands and thousands of keywords. This particular factor correlates all the time. There are very rare cases where it doesn't, but nearly all the time it does correlate. And in other charts, there aren't the outlier bumps in the chart, and so that.
But that's accidental, right? This is. I mean, let me put it this way: if you're going to tune your page and you're looking at this software, you don't want to be doing what people on page 2 are doing. You definitely want to be doing what people on page 1 are doing, and that's what your software is making you do anyway. Because when it says tune pages for matches in web page HTML source with a value of at least 407, you're looking at page 1 results, to even the spot 1 result to make that determination.
Yeah, we look at a number of things when the software crafts the advice, so it knows that those bumps are outliers compared to the trend line. So it's making its advice based on the trend line.
And you can see that on the very left of the graph. That's exactly what you're showing. On page 1, the average value is 556. On page 2, it's 705. And on page 3, it drops way down to 251. So that, again, the numbers support what you're saying, that Google is still a keyword-based search engine, and it is. And it supports what I'm saying, in that on page 2, they went almost double what everyone else is doing in terms of exact match keywords, or even the synonyms they were talking about, and they went way too high. And so you want to be in and around that 400 value that we're seeing on page 1, that sweet spot.
Yep. And, you know, there's another important thing to remember. There's also an off-page game that matters a lot. So you have to weigh what you see here with what could possibly be happening off-page with the results as well.
Of course, yeah. What's the next one we can look at here, Ted?
All right. The number of words. So word count, I see it all the time, and there does appear to be a sweet spot. And in most niches, in fact, it tends to be like this. There is some variance, but there does appear to be a bit of truth to the fact that it shouldn't be too much and it shouldn't be too little.
Yeah. It does seem to correlate as you go towards page 1. It does seem to correlate with a little bit higher, but in a certain sweet spot.
Yep.
All right, what's the next one? Oh, that's it. Oh, what a tease.
Yeah, that's all I had prepared for today. But, you know, there's a lot of advantages that this type of tool can bring. Like, for example, I stopped fearing algorithm changes. because whenever somebody says, hey, there was an algorithm change last week, I compare today's file to a file from before the algorithm change for the same keyword, and I say, okay, what's different? And it allowed me to stop panicking about what Google's going to do, and allows me to focus on what my competitors are doing, which is really what matters more. Another advantage that this type of tool brought to the table for me is that I can spot bullshit in articles so fast, because I could say what you're saying never matches the data I see. And I can instantly tell that what I'm reading isn't something that was born from empirical measurement. And it saves me so much time being able to filter that out. Another thing is I don't rely on my own anecdotal experiences, because the stuff that worked for me last year might not work at all tomorrow. And when you measure, you can always know what's likely to work today. And, you know, it's allowed me to prove and disprove a lot of my own beliefs, and it's really been a game changer.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Ted, there. I'm going to check to see here. Does anyone have any questions in the chat about that software and what we were talking about there? If you have any questions, please put it in the live chat if you're watching on YouTube. If you are watching this after we're done the broadcast, if you have any questions, please put it in the comments, or you can email me, joshbachynski@gmail.com. Ted, this link I have on our private chat here, is that the correct link to share? Can I share that link for this?
Actually, let me give you a better link to share.
Okie dokie. So we'll get a link for you guys if you want to check out the software, if you want to look into that. I couldn't stress enough how good it is. And again, it's not just a sale, like it really is a good piece of software. Like consider being in like a larger company, and you're the SEO, and your boss is asking you why you want to do what it is you want to do, or why you're recommending these things. You can say, hey, look, here's a spreadsheet with 400 things. You know, it kind of immediately justifies who you are and what you do, kind of to your boss. And so it's even useful for that kind of a purpose. But it's also very useful for your on-page kind of a tuning. Okay, so while Ted looks for the software here that he wants to, oh, here we go. Okay, and so here's the special link for the I just put it in the chat there for people who want to check it out. I'll also go here and I will edit the description, and I will put it in the description for this video on YouTube. Link for software is blah. Here we go. So it's SEOtoollab.com/special.php. So go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, and there's a special discount for fans of the Hangout.
Ooh, a 25% discount for viewers of the Hangout. Wow.
Nice.
Well, thank you very much. That's fantastic. Okay, so I'll see here. If anyone has any questions in the chat here, let me see if I can find any questions that are. Someone asked, is it software, a subscription service, or is it a one-time fee?
It's a subscription, because I have to maintain it, and I want to make sure everyone who's using it has the latest, greatest with all the bells and whistles.
Right. It took you quite a long time to develop it. Actually, we've been talking about this for
over a year.
Over a year now. And people who've been watching my videos know that I've been looking at it. The guy who is speaking, his name is Ted Kubaitis. There's a link to his stuff right there. Cyberink asked that.
And there are videos, training videos on the website. So if you want to see what it can do and how it works, there's a video for it there.
Miguel asks, my site, it's a forum, in 2012, it went from 40,000 to 4,000. Any advice? Miguel, that's impossible to answer without seeing your site, seeing what's going on. The show is almost over. We're not doing a site audit today, but you can email me, joshbachynski@gmail.com. Maybe we can help you out, or watch for a future video where we're doing site clinics where we can actually give advice on the air about what's going on with your SEO. Okay, so the final segment, we're going to thank you very much, Ted, again for that. Steve looked awfully bored during that whole thing. But, oh well. What can you
I'm
say?
on an SEO show. What are you gonna do?
Wait! Don't you guys owe a chicken dance?
No, I think we're tied right now.
Yeah, I think that's next time or something.
I think the show's not over, so we'll do the chicken dance maybe next time. We'll see what happens. So the final section today is going to be the random topic section. The random topic section is when I go to Google and I click "I'm feeling lucky" and I see what comes up. Are you ready? Drum roll. What do you think I'm going to come up with when I go to google.com?
Pineapples.
An ad.
Okay, so I'll share my screen here just so everyone knows what it is. What could it be? Here's the screen. All right, so I go to google.com and I click "I'm feeling lucky" and I get Google Arts and Culture. Wow. Isn't that kind of self-serving? You go to "I'm feeling lucky" and you get a Google product. That
looks like Midsummer's Night's Dream or something.
Yes.
Well done, Google. Well done.
It is Google's dream of corporate capitalistic domination, I suppose. All right, well, that's the show. Thanks very much, everyone, for watching. I want to thank Ted for making your presentation and giving us that discount for your software. Thank you very much. Again, I can't say enough good things about the software. Steve, thank you as well for all of your information about the Book of Face.
Yep, the F word.
The Book of Face, and all that information you're presenting to us and how to get your ad, your click lower. And the trick to doing that, as you said, was to do multiple audiences and to see where your sweet spot is of the lowest cost per click, but also still get you the sales that you want to get. And of course, the Book of Face is the best place where you can find that information because they know everything about everybody they even possibly want to do. Ted, just remind me, does your software include all the off-page factors? What are the off-page factors again?
It does not include all the off-page factors.
Like such as?
Well, there's
See, this is where I'm trying to trick Ted into saying
so much stuff.
The L word.
Yeah, there are hack links.
Hack links, yes. They're definitely hacked links if they're black hat. Oh, okay. All right, well, I guess that's not going to work. Okay, thanks very much, folks, for watching. It was a tie. Next time, we'll see who's the loser, and they have to do the chicken dance. Yep. But until next time, I want to thank you all for watching. Again, if you have any questions about SEO or the show, or you want to get in contact with any of us, I'll go first. My name is Josh Bachynski. You can email me at joshbachynski@google.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Bachynski. You can watch more videos like this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/jbachins. Ted, go ahead, give us your contact stuff.
SEOtoollab.com. I have a contact form.
And Steve, the fantastic Steve Fantasia.
That is me. Steve at brightsourcemedia.com. You can email me for both White Hat and Black Hat Facebook.
Boom! Oh, you lose. You lose, buddy. I win. You have to do the chicken dance now.
I'll do it.
We'll save that for next time. All right. Thanks very much, guys, for joining us. Hopefully next week we'll have Chase back as well. And if you guys have any questions, again, you can email me, joshbachynski@gmail.com. I can see a couple questions there. And as I always say, folks, good luck in the SERPs.